Hello everyone, welcome back with the new video. So in this video, we are going to learn how to get a transaction by transaction ID, get it block by block number in the Fabric 2.x. In the Fabric 2.x, we can get that directly by invoking the QSCC, that is the query system chain code. We have a couple of methods exposed in the QSCC. We can just directly invoke those methods, but when we get a response in a protobuf format, so we have to decode that protobuf format into JSON readable file and we can send it to the client. But for decoding that protobuf format, we were not having any methods in the Fabric network 2.0, you can say. Now that part is included in the Fabric common library, decoding the block or decoding the transactions. But before that, in the Fabric 2.0 or 2.1, so how we can achieve that? So there are a couple of methods to achieve the same things, like getting the first transaction by transaction ID or block by block number, and after that convert that protobuf format data into the JSON format and finally send to the client. So let's see both of the parts in this video. So first one, when we talk about the query system chain code, we have a couple of methods in the Hyperledger Fabric in the query system chain code, and that is the system chain code which is already available for invocation. So these are the total 5 methods available in the query system chain code. First one is a get chain code info, get block by block number, get block by block hash, get transaction by transaction ID, get block by transaction ID. These are the different 5 methods right now available in the QSSC, that is the query system chain code. So how we can invoke those invoke this smart contract and get the data in the protobuf format and convert that protobuf format data into the JSON format and finally send to the client. So in the previous version of the Fabric, that is the Fabric client, which is deprecated, and don't try to use that. These methods were available directly in the SDK. So you used to get block by block number and convert into the JSON and finally send to the, so we don't require to do anything extra for that. But in the Fabric network, we can invoke this QSCC query system chain code and get a data in the protobuf format, but there wasn't anything to decode that in the Fabric 2.0 and 2.1. But later on, it's get added into the Fabric common library 2.2.3. But before that library, how we can achieve the same thing? So either we can convert that protobuf format block using the config.txt later tool, or maybe we can use directly Fabric common 2.2.3 library to convert that protobuf format into the JSON format. So let's see how we can do the same both of the things in our code. So let's jump into the VS code first. Yeah, okay. So make sure that you have a Fabric common version 2.2.3, because this decoding part is available only in 2.2.3 if I'm not wrong, because I tested with this version. It's working fine. Previously I used Fabric common version 1.4.0, and later on it get released to the 2.0.0, but it was in the beta, so I didn't use that. So later on, this is the latest version Fabric common, which is stable 2.2.3. so make sure that you are also using the same one. You can see here Fabric common npm package, and this is the history of these different versions. Like, so previously I was using 1.4.0, and later on 2.0.0 get released, but it was in the beta, so I didn't use that. So recently this Fabric common 2.2.3 version get released, and I'm using that. And decoding the block or decoding the transaction, it is already available in this Fabric common. But again, we will be decoding protobuf format into JSON format using config.txt later tool as well. So let's jump into the VS code and start implementation. Okay, fine. So for QSCC, that is a query system chain code, I have exposed another one API here. At the bottom of the file, you can see here app.get QSCC channel name, chain code name, and this is the function. This is the API we have added here, and you can see these are the inputs. The exactly same way we are getting data from the chain code, that is the get query chain code. So here again we are getting some information like channel name, chain code name, and other information. We are just checking that, and you can see here line number 332, response payload equal to await qscc.qscc. qscc is one of the function here we have imported. qscc, it's available inside the app. We will go through that as well. qscc, we're passing some parameters like channel name, chain code name, arguments, function, username, and the organization name. So let's go to the qscc. So this is the qscc function, that is query system gen code. We are going to invoke the query system gen code. So we are getting these different parameters here. Again, we are getting the ccp, wallet path, wallet identity. We are checking if it is already available. If it is not, then we are registering. You can implement your own way as well here. Gateway connect, we are providing the ccp for connecting the gateway. Username and the discovery as enable true. Localhost equal to true. Network equal to await gateway network get network, providing the channel name. For getting the contact, we are providing the smart contact name. And finally our implementation start from here, because this part is the common for query, invoking the transaction and all. So from here, first we will implement directly using the config.tx letter tool. First we will invoke invoke QSCC, and later on, once we invoke the QSCC, we'll get a protocol format data, convert that protocol format data into the JSON format. So first of all, we are getting function name as a get block by block number. You can see here result equal to await contract dot evaluate transaction function. We have to provide the function, channel name, and the argument 0. Argument 0 is nothing but the block number. So we will be passing it from the client. So once we get this data, one more thing I want to explicitly mention here, this is the chain code name. So this chain code name should be QSCC, which we are getting from the client. We could have done it hard coded here as well, but I was just playing around this API to make it more robust. And we are passing this data from the client, that is the Postman client. And once we get this, the QSCC, we are just passing it evaluate transaction here, and we will get protocol format data here. Result, that would be protocol format. So this data would be in the protocol format, and we cannot read that data directly. I can show you that part as well. But again, so for decoding this result into the JSON format, I did some hack here. So file system, we are writing that block into the block data dot block in the app data folder. You can see here app data, and inside the app data we have block data dot block. So this kind of data we will get. This is the protocol format data. We cannot read it directly. So for that we have to decode this data into the JSON format. So here we have written that data into the block data dot block. And another one thing, we have created here promise, run script, new promise, resolve reject. And here this child process we're using, it's already available in the node, and we are using this because we have to execute some shell script inside the node. So for that, here sh dot slash app slash block decoder dot sh, this is the shell script file which is available inside the app. Let me show you this block decoder dot sh. This is the file where we are using the config.tx letter tool to decode, that is the proto decode. This is the function. We have different kind of methods here inside this config.tx letter tool, proto encode or proto decode. So input file is this block data dot block, and type is the common dot block. And finally we are decoding this data and writing into the block.json file. Okay, once we done that, here you can see, so we are trying to execute that file, and finally once we execute that file, we are resolving this promise. So here we have just created the promise, we did not run it yet. So at the line number 66 we can see here result equal to await run script. So now we are running that promise. Once we get the result, so again we have written here this file into the block.json. in the data file. Block.json file will get returned that protobuf format into the JSON format. And finally, we are reading the same file and just parsing that JSON object and finally sending it here. Return result. So in this way, we are converting that protobuf format into the JSON format using config.txt letter tool by explicitly executing this script. Let's try to invoke this function and run this part and how exactly that data looks like. So for that, my network, let me check my network is up and running, docker ps. So I do not have my network running up.sh. First, it will run all the necessary services. Once all the services are up and running, so next part would be creating the channel and the joining the channel to the peer, and finally deploying the chain code. So again, in the deploy chain code, we have different steps. Yeah, once we create channel and join the channel, the deploy chaincode.sh invocation, deploy chaincode.sh file will be triggered, and all the steps which are available inside the deploy chaincode.sh will get run here, getting the installing the chain code, approving the chain code, committing the chain code definition, and finally invoking. These are all the steps available here. Now you can see all the steps got executed. Now we are having our network up and running, docker ps. You can see here. And what we have to do, just go to the API 2.0 and start our server, nodemon app.js. Okay, now what we will do, we will invoke some transactions. So let's go to the Postman. So I'm using the Postman client, web Postman. First one is the registering the API. So I'm sending the sending for the registration so that we can get a token here. Got a token for this user. Next one is the adding car. So this car we are going to add. So for that we have to add authorization token, variables, save it. And finally add car. Let me change this again. We have added the token. Now we are invoking the transactions. This transaction is just add this car into the blockchain network. So we have added it, and let's confirm by going to the CoWSDB UI here. Supercar 111 get added, and you can see the data. Okay, so next step would be invoking the transactions, like getting the block by block number or getting transaction by transaction ID. So at the initial stage, we have checked get transaction by transaction ID, this one, sorry, get block by block number, and later part we will be doing the get transaction by transaction ID as well. But here as well we have done the same, exactly same thing. The only thing, when we get a response, we are writing into the transaction data.block file, and again finally we are using this script transaction decoder.sh, transaction decoder.sh. So we are decoding this protobuf format transaction data.block into the transaction.json. Instead of previously we have done in the block.json, now for the transaction we are converting the protobuf format into the transaction.json. You can see here. So I have already done this here. So that's why this data is we can see this data. We can just delete this data as well. It doesn't matter, it will get created again when we invoke the transaction. So first step would be the getting the transaction by transaction ID. So we are going to invoke this data. So we are going to invoke this function from the Postman. So let's see. But for invoking the transaction by transaction ID, we require a transaction ID. So for this create car, for supercar, we have to invoke the function get history for that asset so that we can get a transaction ID. So I'm invoking the get history for the asset. and we will get the transaction ID. You can do in a other way as well. When we invoke in a transaction, at that time we can just return the transaction ID from the chain code. So that we don't require to invoke this get history for the asset method for just getting the transaction ID. We can just return this transaction ID from the smart contract when we create asset. Yeah, we got this transaction ID, and using the same transaction ID we will be invoking get transaction by transaction ID function. You can see here. So as an argument, I'm sending the transaction ID, sending it. Yeah, you can see on the screen, this is the response we got. So this response, when we convert protocol format into JSON format, so this data is the base 64 encoded format. So this data is in the form of base 64 encoded. Now we can just decode this data using maybe some tool or node, or maybe online. You can just you can see here represent this base 64 decode dot, or here I can just paste my data. Yeah, and just decode it, so you will get exactly the certificate. And in the Postman you can see this is the exactly same data. In Dosar again we have the same I mean we have the certificate here as well, and in this way we can get all the information like payload. So this is again encoded form of the base 64. We can just decode this data as well. I'm just showing this part as well. This is the payload, how exactly it looks like when we decode this data. You can see this is the object actually having make, model, color, owner. These are the different information we already have. You can play around this different information here. So this is one of the approach, and again while getting we can just invoke the same function, getting block by block number. Okay, so right now I'm considering we have block 3, and I'm sending it. Just I'm getting the information of the block 3, sending it. I should get information related to the block 3. You can see inside this block we can just see all the information: creator, endorsements, proposal, response. You can just decode this data, read write set, or this first argument. So this is the payload, actual payload. Decode approach encode definition for my organization. This is the function name actually. These are the different information which is already available inside the block. You can just play around this metadata and all the thing. So another one approach. So I would recommend to use that one. So next one. So as I already mentioned, use the Fabric common library for decoding this block. We don't need to do these all the things like first of all get the block, write the block into the file system, again decode with the config.txt letter tool into the JSON format, and finally send it. So using only single line we can achieve the same thing using Fabric common API. So here in the Fabric common API, so make sure that you are using Fabric common API 2.2.3, and that is recommended. Okay, see, so there is a block decoder function class here, block decoder required Fabric common, and we are going to use the same thing. So I would highly recommend to use this part. You can see here get function equal to get block by block number. I'm just commenting this part because this is not required, and this block decoder will do everything for us, and this is the easier approach. For both of the transactions I'm doing the same thing. This one, result equal to block decoder, decode transaction, and result. So we have this method defined. You can just explore this block decoder class in the Fabric common API, and for the decoding the block, we have a function block decoder.decode, and we have to just pass that protobuf format. So I'm just restarting my server. I'm using NodeMun, so that's why whenever I'm saving this file, you can see at the bottom, the server is getting restarted automatically. Now the same thing we will do. So I'm now invoking the same function, but this time we will get JSON response from the using block decoder.decode. So first one, block decoder, get block by block number. Again, we are doing the same thing. I'm sending it. This time we will get a response, but you can see here we are getting the data in the buffer format. So if you want to convert this buffer format, I will show you how we can convert that data. Or maybe you can just right now we can minimize and check the data how exactly it looks like. The previous implementation, that was kind of hack. So I was just investigating how we can achieve that protobuf format into the JSON format. So I did that, and so I was getting that decoded format, encoded format of the string, encoded format of the data. Now you can see here this kind of data we are getting in the buffer format, and you can we'll try to decode this buffer format into the string as well. This is the different data. So let's try this data to convert into the string. Okay. Copy and just open. On the command line, just open the node CLI, node data equal to, just paste that data here, buffer format. Now you can see data equal to this one. Okay, so next task would be converting this buffer format data into the string. So how we can achieve that? So see here, buffer from JSON parse, JSON stringify, we have stringified data here. I think we missed something here. Buffer from, we have to do it here, because data we have given only in the array format. Generally buffer will be having type buffer and there would be data. Okay, so when we convert this buffer format data into the string, you will get this kind of response, or maybe programmatically you can do it while recursively going inside this object and just convert whenever you get data if in the form of buffer. Okay, so this is the data for the block by block number. And again, talking about the transaction by transaction ID, let's do the same thing again. I'm getting the data for the same transaction ID, but this time we are using Fabric Common library. So again, you can see this kind of data you will get. It's having this is the data. You can just minimize and check the content of this block. Blockchain Explorer also does the same thing. It just first of all, we get a protobuf format and convert it using the Fabric Common in the latest version. And previously it used to use Fabric client library. This is the different data we can see, and in this way we can achieve getting the transaction by transaction ID, or getting block by block number, or we have another some other option, other method as well we can invoke, which are available inside the query system chain code. Get block by block hash, get block by transaction ID. We have this method as well. We have to pass only transaction ID. We will get all the block. We can get chain code information, and this already available inside this QSCC. You can see here github.com/hyperledger fabric blob master course SSC system chain code. This is SSCC. So all the SSCC system chain code are available inside this, and one of the system chain code is the QSCC, that is the query system chain code, which is specially used for querying the data from the blockchain. transaction by transaction ID, get block by block number. This is the smart contract system chain code, that is a QSCC, and we have these are the different methods available: get chain code info, get block number, get block hash, get transaction by transaction ID, get block by transaction ID. And this is the implementation. We are not going to do anything here, but only thing we are going to invoke this method from the SDK, that is Fabric Network SDK. So in this way we can implement this part. And in case if you're facing any kind of doubt, you can just let me know. I will try to help you. And so I would recommend you to use the second approach, that is very easy. In case if you are using the latest version of the Fabric Common, and if you are not using the latest version of the Fabric Common, this is kind of hack. I have implemented it, but it's up to you which one you want to implement. So this is the easier one, block decoder or decode, which is available inside the Fabric Common in the version 2.2.3. So I did not check for the Fabric Common 2.0.0 because it was in beta. So I have used Fabric 2.2.3, which is recently released. Thank you so much for watching this video. In case if you want any kind of help, you can just ping me or DM me on Instagram. I would like to help you. Thank you so much, guys. Stay tuned for the more update.